Hello all, welcome to our CSEC math preparation for the multiple choice paper coming up. All right, so here we go, getting to it. These are topics that you will see on the exam in the order that it'll appear on the paper, right? Computation, straight down to geometry and trigonometry at its final. All right, so this is structure of the exam, and what we're going to be doing in this video is going through a few questions. I think I have about 100 questions here. We won't waste any time. We'll be going through the first set with the 3 topics that you see highlighted in red here. All right. The questions profile is as such: 6 questions from the first section, 8 questions from consumer arithmetic, and then 6 questions from sets. So without further ado, let's go. Our first 2 questions from computation and number theory. The approach you'd make for this one: you're not using a calculator in the exam. So what you'd have to do is by hand. Of course, from memory, you have to have these computational skills. What's happening in this situation is that 2 is being divided by 0.01 squared. Without a calculator, you'd have to multiply 0.01 squared by itself, right? So it's 0.01 multiplied by itself, and the result would be as you see it here. What you do at this point is to multiply the bottom number by 10,000 so that the decimal point can be to the right of the 1. Or you can just simply say move the decimal until it is to the right of the 1, giving us only 1 at the denominator. The number of times we move the point here, the number of times we'll have to do the same thing at the numerator. 1, 2, 3, 4, giving us 20,000. And that would be our first question. If you want to use process of elimination, 0.01 is a very small number. So when squared, it even becomes smaller. The number of times this small number can go into 2 is a lot of times. So question A, answer A and B would completely be out of options, right? So that's the answer for our first question. And moving on to the second. Now, minus a half cubed. Now, if the negative number was on the inside of the bracket, then the situation would be minus a half cube. But since it's on the outside, the cube would only be applied to the half, right? Giving us a half multiplied by a half multiplied by another half, which is 1/8. At the end, we'll apply back the negative sign, and our answer would be negative 1/8. Easy. All right, on to our next questions. If 3n is an odd number, which of the following is even? Now, any odd number that you have and you subtract 1 from it, the result will be an even number. For example, 1 minus 5 minus 1, 13 minus 1, the result will be even. So since 3n is an odd number, if you subtract 1, the result is A is our result, if without doing an experiment with any of the other answers. All right, the number 301 can be written as, now we know that 3 times 10 squared is 300 because 10 squared means 10 times 10, which is 100. So the only thing that's left is for us to add 1 to it, right? Our answer is D. Next set of question, the percentage, always a challenge for many persons. What percent of 340 is 425? The temptation is to put the 340 over 425, but the number of focus really is 425. So what percent of 340 is 425? The setting is 425 above the 340 times 100. If it is that the question was written in such a way where we say what percent of 25, for example, is 12. Let us say you got 12 on a test out of 25. You'd put 12 over 25 and then you multiply it by the 100. But in this case, what percent of 340 is 425. If we should use the process of elimination, the answers A and B are completely out. Because since 425 is larger than 340, then it means that the answer is above 100%. In any case, given that we have that in the exam, we don't have calculators working with, we'd simply break this down by dividing these numbers by 10, 340 and 100. And then 2 can go into 10 5 times, and 2 into 34 goes 17 times. Fear not these numbers. 17, we know, can go into 42 2 times. 2 times 17 is 34, so the remainder is 8. And then 17 into 85 goes 5 times. And then we multiply the result. 25 times 5, our answer is 5. All right, next is from ratio. Anne and Betty share the sum of money in the ratio 2 to 3, respectively, and receive $120. What was Betty's share? Now, Anne's share is 120, but she got 2 parts of the total. So if we divide 120 by 2, Anne's share, then one single part is being represented by 60, right? If 60 is one part, then 3 times one part would give us the Betty's share, which is $180. So the key here is to find out what one part is first. If Betty's share was given, right, which is 180, when we divide 180 by 3, we would have the 60 just the same, representing one part. And multiplying the 2, that's Anne's share, by 60, would get Anne's share to be 120. All right, that's it for that. The next 2 questions. All right, so we have 3.25% of 500. Naturally, we know that percent means out of 100. Since this is a mixed fraction, we're going to be converting it to improper by multiplying the whole number by the denominator here. So 3 times 4 is 12 plus 1 is 13. Given that percent is out of 100, we'd have to multiply the denominator by 100. So it's 13 over 400 actually. So it's 3 times 4 plus 1, 13 over 4. But since percent is out of 100, we'd multiply that denominator there by 100, and then we do our cancelling for our final answer. Without a calculator, naturally, the zeros here will be cancelled. And then we could multiply the 13 by 5, which is 65, and then divide our result by 4. So what we'll have here is 4 into 6 goes 1 time, and the remainder 2. 4 into 25 goes 6 times, with a remainder of 1. 4 can't be divided into 1, so we put a point here and add a 0. 4 into 10 goes 2 times, leaving 2. And when we add a 0 to that, 4 into 20 goes 5, leaving no remainder. So our answer is 16.25. That's D here. All right, good. Moving on to our next question. In standard form, the number 3076. The idea of standard form is to write a number between 1 and 10 multiplied by a multiple of 10. So in this case, to get this number to be a number between 1 and 10, we have to move the decimal point from its end 1, 2, 3 places back. So our answer is 3.076 multiplied by 10. But we're going to be raising this 10 to the number of times that we move the decimal point to the left, which was 3 times. So our answer is D. 10 times 10 to the third power is the same thing as 1,000, and 1,000 times 3.076 is the same as 3,076. All right, moving on, we're on to this set category, and the question here gives the universal set with some students playing hockey, some students playing volleyball, and the question is asked, the number of students in each set is indicated. How many students do not play volleyball? All right, so looking at our set here, recognize that there are 7 persons that play hockey, and 6 persons play volleyball. Now, there's a tree here that it seemed to be out of the way, but it's a part of the universal set. So the persons that do not play volleyball would be these 5 persons here and these 3 persons that play none of the sports. So our answer is 8. All right, so it's for us to remember that this is outside of both sports, so they count in the universal set. So it's 5 plus 3, that's 8. Moving on to another set question. Now for this set notation here, the set of elements belonging to the real number set here, -2, -4 are our limits. So what happened is this symbol right there, less than or equal to, it is inclusive, suggesting inclusiveness. Therefore, the -2 and the 4 and every number in between belongs to this set. So our answer is D. So remember, this symbol means less than, this symbol means less than or equal to, which means it would take in the 2 here. So if x is less than 4, then 4 is included. It also means that x could be 4. So D, our answer. In case of notation, if we were asking to represent this on a number line, then we'd have to remember that these symbols, less than and greater than, they use a clear circle. And these symbols, less than or equal to, greater than or equal to, they use a shaded circle. There'll be a question further on that requires this concept here. All right, question on the right is a set question as well. And this P set has 3 elements in it. The number of subsets that we can get from it. All right, it's the notation for that number of subset is 2 raised to the number of elements in the set. So we have 3 elements here. So it's 2 raised to the 3, which is 2 times 2 times another 2. Our answer is 8. If there were only 2 elements in the set, then it would be 2 raised to the 2. And the subset in that case, the number would be 4. All right. Moving on. This is a question that we have just done, just a repeat question. So another set question. P, Q, and S are sets given, then P intersect Q intersect S is equal to what? Now, what's happening here is that this symbol means common, those elements that are common to P, Q, and S. So we have a 2 in this set, we have a 2 in this set, and also a 2 in that set. Our answer is D. All right. Or to the right, if Q is equal to A, B, C, D, E, how many subsets can be obtained from the set Q? As I said, if there are 5 elements, then it is 2 raised to the 5th power. The number would be 32 subsets, but they want the answer in index form. So D is our answer, right? All right, very good. Moving on to the category of consumer arithmetic. Remember that there are 8 questions on the paper, hopefully, that come in this section. And the idea is to get them correct. You do not want to get them wrong. That's losing too many marks for just one section. All right, during a sale, a shop allows 20% discount of the marked price of clothing. What will be the customer pay for a dress that is marked at $30? Now, discount naturally means that the price is going to be going down. Therefore, we just need to find what 20% of 30 is. So it's 20 over 100 multiplied by 30. The zeros in this case can be easily canceled. And that discount is $6, right? But how much a customer will pay is 30 minus 6. And our answer is C, $24. All right, good. Moving on. Tom bought a pen for $60 and sold it to gain 20% on his cost price. how much money did he gain? The concept really is the opposite of what we have here, discount, right? And then profit works the other way, where the money is actually going up. But firstly, of course, we have to find what 20% of the 60 is. So it's 20 over 100 multiplied by 60. All right, again, we can cancel the zeros. And the question says, how much money did he gain? 2 times 6 is $12. That's our answer right there. If the question had asked, how much was the pen sold for, then it will be 12 plus 60, giving us 72. But it only asks for the gain. That's it. Moving on to some other consumer arithmetic questions. And this one is on commission. A salesman is paid 5% of his sales as commission. His sales for last month were 2020. How much commission was he paid? All right, so approaching this question simply again, we have to find what 5% of 2020 is. Naturally, we know that 5 can go into 100 20 times. And then we know that 20 into 20 goes 1. 20 cannot go into 2, 0 times. And then including the other 0, 20 into 20 goes 1. That's it, our answer. 101 is the commission that is paid. Moving on to the other question. If the simple interest on 800 for 3 years is $54, what is the rate of interest? Now, the simple interest concept, right? The question can be asked in 4 different ways. If the question is asking you for the simple interest, we all know that the formula is principal rate times time over 100. But the question can come in such a way where the principal, the rate, or the time is being asked for. If that's the case, as it is in the case with this question, then the formula would be 100 times I, or simple interest, over the other 2 concepts. So that would be rate times time. For rate, it is 100 times I over the other 2 things other than the rate, this principal times time. And for time, it will be 100 times I, again, over the other 2 things, that's principal times rate. In this case, the question is asking for rate. Therefore, what we do, just insert these information that we have into the rate formula here. So it'd be 100, let me just put it right here, 100 times 54, they say is the interest. And we're dividing it by the 800 times 3. So 100 can go into 800 8 times. 3 can go into 54. 3 into 5 goes 1, leaving 2, and 3 into 24 goes 8. That's 18 times. And then 8 into 18 goes 2 times, leaving 2, right? All right, so 2 8 is 16. So that's 2 upon 8. 2 and 2 upon 8 is the same thing as a quarter. And therefore, our answer is C. So in this case, the question was asking for rate. We just simply use this formula, but it can offer simply interest, principal, or time. All right, so moving on to another consumer arithmetic. A plot of land is valued $18,000. Land tax is charged at a rate of 0.7 dollars per 100 value. What is the total amount of tax to be paid on the land? There are more than one ways that we can approach this question, but how I'll approach it, since they're charging 70 cents, right? 70 cents for every $100 value. What we need to find out is how many hundreds we can get from 18,000. That happens to be 180. So if you multiply 180 by the 70 cents, 0.7 of a dollar, then we can get 7, 8 is 56, and 717 plus 5, that's 12. One decimal place in our answer, so our answer is 126. All we did was to find out how many hundreds we can get into the 18,000 multiplied by 0.7. Easy. A loan of 8,000 was repaid in 2 years, monthly installments of $400. The interest on the loan as a percent. First thing, we have to find out how much was paid in 2 years. So we know that 8,000 was borrowed. 2 years happens to be what? 24 months, right? There's 12 months in 1 year. So it's 24 multiplied by 400. And since I don't have a calculator, let me just go 4, 4, 16. And 2, 0, 0, and 2 4s is 8. When I add these, it's 0, 0, 6, 9. So for the 24 months, which is 2 years, how much would be repaid is 9,600. So therefore, when I subtract 8,000 from it, the number that was borrowed in the first place, right, is 1,600. But what happened is that they want this answer, 1,600, as a percent of how much was borrowed in the first place. So it is simply 1,600. Let me do it right here. Upon 8,000. And then multiply by 100 since we're finding percent. Now the zeros can cancel here. And this and 8 into 16 goes 2 times, and then add back that 0. So the answer is 20% interest was charged on the loan. And that's that. All right. A simple one-tier question. If P sweets cost Q cents, then the cost of one sweet is, for me, I'd apply, right, some numbers to make sense of this question first. So say, for example, if 5 sweets cost 10 cents, then to get the price for one would be 10 divided by 5. Put that into that, and would have what? 2 cents. Therefore, it is Q divided by P that will tell me what the cost of one sweet is. So if it's 3 sweets and $15 is the cost, when you divide 3 into 15, we get 5 cents. $5, sorry. And if it was 3 for 15 cents, then 3 into 15, that's 5 cents. So A is our answer. Just running some tests around there. All right, next question. A woman buys a pair of shoes at a sale. She pays $45. Sorry. Saving $15 on the normal price. Or what's a percentage discount? Now, first thing, if she pays $45, saving $15, right? Then if you did not say the 15, then it would be 45 plus the 15, that would give us $60. That's the original price. So we want to find out now, this discount here, how much is it as a percent? We're multiplying by 100 again. So we can say, we can cancel using the zeros here. Then 2 into 6 goes 3 times, and 2 into 10 goes 5. Then 3 can go into 15 5 times. And 5 multiplied by 5, that is 25%, right? And that's our answer there, easily. Moving on, some more consumer arithmetic questions. At the end of 1 year, a car is worth 5% less than it was worth at the beginning of the year. If the car was bought for 10,000 in January 2009, the value in December 2009. All right, so this one is the easy version. There's another version of this question where they ask for the original price. But let's do this question. So it's 5% of the price at the beginning of the year. So 100 into 10,000 goes 100 times, and 5 times 100 is 500. So what we should do now is to deduct, because we're at 5% less. So it's 10,000, right? Minus 500. And our answer is 9,500. That is C for our answer. Easy. A man pays 60 cents for every 200 meter cube of gas used, plus a fixed charge of $13.25. How much does he pay when he uses 55,000 meter cube of gas? Now, what we need to do here is find out how many 200 meters cube we can get from how much he used. That way we can see. Multiply it by 60 cents to see what the charge is. So the zeros will cancel, and 2 into 5 goes 2 times, remainder 1. 2 into 15 goes 7 times, remainder 1. And 2 into 10 goes 5 times. So it's 275. When we divide the 55,000 by 200, right? What we need to do is multiply this by 0.6. Because that's almost his charge for each 200. So 6, 5 is 30. 0 carries 3, 6, 7, 42, 45. 4 and 6, 2 is 12. 165 to 1 decimal place. Good. So this is the charge for the number of 200 meter cube of gas used, but there's a fixed charge which is 13.25, and that need to be added to the charge. So that would give us 871,178. That is A for our answer. I want you all to be resilient. Since you don't have a calculator, remember, put pen to paper and do your calculations to their end. All right, so what we have just done is completed the first 3 topics here in terms of some practice, some questions that may return or similar questions on the exam. What we're going to do now is move on to another 3 categories: algebra, measurement, and statistics, and how the questions 6, 8, 6, measurement, having 8 questions in this category. So let's go for these. So for algebra, this is an equation. All right, so it's 2y minus 4 equals 16. Some people can use the process of experimenting by just putting these values where the y is to see which of them will give the 16 here. For those who want to go through the process of expanding the bracket, we would have 2y minus 8, both things in the bracket multiplied by 2, and then add 8 on the right side or on both sides, which would give us 24. So 2y equal 24, and then we just divide 2 on both sides, and our answer is 12. All right. There's a trick that CSEC employs in doing this question here. So the idea is to expand the bracket. 5 times x is 5x, and 5 times y is 5y. And then minus 3 times x is minus 3x, and minus 3 times minus y. Here's the problem for many persons. Minus 3 multiplied by minus y will give you a positive 3y here. If I should add the like terms, then when you take 3x from 5x, we'll end up with 2x, and 5y plus 3y will give you 8. Our answer is C. All right, this is a similar question. Is it the same exact question? Okay, this is the same exact question. All right, so let's move on. This is a similar question, and the idea is to expand the bracket just the same. So 5 times 2x will give us the 10x. Let me just write it here quickly. So 5 times 2x is 10x, and 5 times y is minus 5y. I'm going to do a short version for this question. 2 times 3y is minus 3y. And look at here, minus 2 times 5 minus 5 will give me a positive. Oh, by the way, this is 6y, my bad. 2 times 3 is 6y. 6y. Then minus 2 times minus 5 is a positive 10x. Minus 2 times minus 5x. Now, look at the x terms here, everybody. We have 10x here, and we have 10x here, and both are positive. When we combine and add them, we get 20x. Now, since this is the only answer with 20x, then this has to be the correct answer. To finish off though, if you have a minus 5y minus 6y, then we have a minus 11y. So D is our answer. Continuing with statistics here. Now we have binary operations, and it is just simply noting that the R asterisk S corresponds to the 3 asterisk 2. So let R be 3 and S be 2. So it means that we're having what here now? 3. We're having, sorry about that. So we're having the 2 raised to the third power, which is 2 times 2 times 2. And that would give us 8. I actually should have had the written thing right here. That is going to be S value is 2 and the R value is 3. And it's 2 times 2 times 2, giving us 8 for our answer there. Sorry. Okay, the next question is very similar to this. Let us note that M asterisk N is the same thing as 5 asterisk 3. So let M be 5. So what we have is the square root of 5 times 3 minus 3 squared. And that's 15 minus 9, which is the square root of, when you subtract these, we get 6. But the square root of 6 is not a whole number, so it's not 3, it's not 6, and naturally it's not 15. It's just this notation here, the square root of 6. Easy. If we had 9 under the square root, then the answer would be 3, the square root of 9. All right. What about these questions now? Very similar questions, but the answers are in a different formats. They're asking for something different for the one on the right. So here we expand. 4 multiplied by 3 is 12. That means this first answer here is completely out because they have 7. 4 3s 12. 4 again, we're going to use it to multiply the second term in the other bracket. 4 2s, that's 8x. And then minus 3 multiplied by, minus x multiplied by 3 is minus 3x. Then minus x times 2, that will give me a minus 2x squared. So minus 2x squared and 12 don't have a like term, but here we have minus 3x from 8x, that's 5x, so our answer is 12 plus 5x minus 2x. Now for this one, they do not want all the terms. What they want is just the middle of the expansion. Therefore, if we do all, we'd have x times x is x squared. And again, x times 1 will be minus x. Then we're using 3 multiplied by x is 3x. And then 3 times 1 is minus 3. So what we have here now is minus x from 3x, right? Minus x from 3x, that will give us 2x, and that's the middle term in our expression. So the whole thing would be x squared plus 2x minus 3, but they just want the middle term. The same way we had over here 8 minus 3x, and the middle term was 5x. All right, good. Moving on to another set of algebra questions, very similar to 2 that we had done before with binary operation. Good. So really and truly, CSEC in both of these situations is testing for one major concept. And let me tell you what that is. That is multiplying negative numbers by themselves. So here we have the m value is minus 3 and the p value. So what is p? So it's minus 3 squared, which is a positive 9. And then when we have the negatives beside each other, or this negative multiplying this negative bracket will give us a positive 3. That's 9 upon 4. That is our answer. 9 upon 4, our answer. The next question on the right is testing for the same thing. So what's happening here is that we have in the bracket here the x value, which is minus 2, upon the y value, which is 3, and it's all squared. When you square 3, we'll end up with a 9. And squaring a negative 2 will become positive. So our answer is B. Easy. All right, moving on. This concept here is inequality. And what we're going to do is treat it the same way we treat a regular equation. So the 3 that is adding on the left side, it will subtract on both sides, giving us 2x greater than or equal to 9 minus 3. And 3 from 9 will give us 6. So we divide both sides by 2. X is now going to be greater than 3. Our answer is A. And this question here on the left is a very similar question. And what's being asked is for you to write down the values of x. So what 9 is going to be doing is subtracting on both sides. So we'll have 5x less than or equal to 4 minus 9. The result for that would be 5x less than or equal to minus 5. And what happened when we divide both sides by 5, then x is going to be less than or equal to minus 1. Our answer there is B. All right, moving on to the other category, and that is measurement. Normally a troubling category for many, but it's easy since on the CSEC paper, we have a section where they call it formula sheet. When you reach the measurement question on the exam, just make sure to make reference to the formula sheet. It helps a lot. So for example, in this question here, the cylinder is given where the height is present here and the diameter for the cross section. So when you check the formula sheet, right, it will say that the volume for a cylinder is V equal pi r squared. That's the area of a circle times h, the height. And we just put the information in and we're good to go. If you notice, all the answers have pi in them, that means pi is not being calculated. So we just need to put in the numbers that we are given. So we are given, so let's leave pi. And then the diameter is 6. That means half of the diameter, which is the radius, is 3. But the formula said that we should square 3 and then multiply it by the height, which is 20. And what we're going to have is now 3 times 3 is 9 times 20, that's 180. And we're using back the pi. So our answer is simply A, 180 pi. Remember, make reference to the formula sheet when you're in the exam. All right, next question. You're always going to be seeing these diagrams on the exam. This is a trapezium, the question to the left. And what's being asked is for us to find what the area for the trapezium is. When you check the formula sheet, what you will find is that the area for a trapezium is given as A plus B multiplied by H divided by 2. The A and the H in the formula are the parallel sides of the trapezium. So it is 7 and 11. So if we should put those numbers in the formula, what we're going to be having is 7 plus 11. That's 18. And 18 will multiply the height, which is 20. And then we divide by 2. Now 2 can go into... Oh, no. The height is not 20. Why am I saying this? My error. The height is 3, right? I think 20 come from previous question, the height of the cylinder. So the height is 3 here, right? And 2 into 18 goes 9 times, and 3 times 9 will give us our answer to be 27. So remember, the formula is on the formula sheet, so no need to worry if you are seeing a trapezium. All right, the next question is giving us the distance around us, this edge of a circle upon is 88 meters. What's the radius? The radius in meters. They want an expression for it. And luckily, again, the pi is presented in all our answers. So there's nothing much to calculate. What should you make reference to again? To the formula sheet. The formula sheet will say to you that the circumference for a circle, since this is a circular pond, right, is 2 pi r. And we just need to plug in the information that we're given here. So the circumference is 88, so that's 88 equal to 2 times pi times r. We want r to be the subject, so we leave r alone on the right side. But since we want to get rid of the 2 pi, we divide this side by 2 pi. 2 pi cancels 2 pi, but by virtue of equation, we have to divide this side by 2 pi as well. So we're having r now is being equal to this expression here, which is, and we're done. As simple as that. The 3 measurement question that we're seeing so far is asking us to make reference to the formula sheet. Please don't forget that tomorrow when you're in the exam. Another question from measurement, the figure above not drawn to scale consists of a triangle resting on top of a square with side 5 centimeters. The height of the triangle is 4. What is the total area for the triangle? So let us go here. Since this is a square, then the area for the square is 25 centimeters square. We all know that. Length times width, right? For the rectangle, we know that the base is 5. And the formula that is on the formula sheet as well says half base times height. Or we could say half height times base actually. So half of 4 is 2 and 2 times 5 is 10. And when you add 10 to 25, we get 35 for our answer. By the way, for the triangle, we could also say base times height, which is 20, divided by 2, that's still 10. So 10 plus 25, our answer. Measurement question. The area for a triangle is 30 centimeters squared. And they're asking us now, oh, the base is 10. What's the perpendicular height for the triangle? Now, you and I know. If you didn't know, you would look on the formula sheet and see it's half base times height for the area of a triangle. So they give us the area to be 30. So it's half times the base, which is times 10, times the height equals 30. All right, easy. So 2 into 10 goes 5. So we have 5h equals 30. All we need to do now is divide both sides by 5. And then h is equal to 6. What some people would do is they say, since the base is 10 and the formula is half base times height, half of 10 is 5. So 5 times which of these numbers would give me the 30? It would be the 6. Not hard at all. Another measurement question. The area of a rectangle is 53.6. If the length is multiplied by 4 and the width is halved, then the area would be what? What I do in a question like this is run an experiment with numbers of my own. So let us say I say this is 10 and I say this is 4. If I find the area for this, it would be 40. 4 times 10, 40 units. That's my area. But what if I apply the rule that's given in the question? If I multiply the length by 4, then this is now going to be 4 times 10, which is 40. And they say the width is halved. If I halve this, I'm going to be getting 2. The area for this rectangle now would be 2 times 40, which is 80. And then in comparison, I recognize that the 80 is twice the 40 that I have up there, right? That means for this question, the 53.6, when the rule is applied, will be doubled times 2, giving us 107.2. Easy. Now, on to another testing shape. No problem if you apply the use of the formula sheet on the exam. So what we're going to be having now is this is a sector, and for the sector, the question is giving us that the angle AOB is 60 degrees. And they're not asking for much. All they're asking for is the area of the sector. But the formula sheet will tell you that area of sector is the same as pi r squared multiplied by angle over 360. You may see a combination of this, which is pi r squared theta over 360. However, it's the same thing. So the angle here in this case, so we're going to put back the pi r squared, and the angle is 60 over 360. And what you're going to be doing is to say 60 into 60 goes 1, and 60 into 360 goes 6 times. So it's 1 upon 6 pi r squared. This is our answer. Nothing complicated. They're basically asking us to just simplify 60 over 360, which is 1 upon 6. Use the formula sheet. Moving on to another part of measurement still. This part now is speed distance. A man started a journey at 9:30 hours, right? That's in the morning, and arrive his destination, the same time zone at 1:30. This is in the 24-hour time. So from 9:30 to 1:30 is how many hours? 10:30, 11:30, 12:30, 1:30. That's 4 hours. We need to remember that speed is equal to distance over time. And the question is asking for is average speed in kilometers. Then the distance, they're asking for the distance. So the speed is 30. The distance is what they're asking for, and the time is 4 hours. We just simply cross multiply here, and the distance is 120. Easy. Next question is very similar. Let's declare that the speed is equal to distance over time. See? So it took 9 hours to travel a distance of 1,080 kilometers. What's the average speed? So speed is equal to 1,080 over time, which is 9 hours. 9 into 10 goes 1 time, leaving 1, forming a new number. 9 to 18 goes 2, so it's 120. They seem to like this number 120, but remember the speed is equal to distance over time when you're going the exam. Another speed distance question. This one is rather testing your ability to manipulate transpose the formula. Speed is equal to distance over time. How many kilometers will the car travel in T hours at the rate of V kilometers? Now they're asking per hour. Sorry, this is the speed. So they're asking how many kilometers, which is the distance. Remember, when finding distance, we just simply multiply S times T. In this case, it's T times V. And these are the ones multiplying. This is the answer. Easy. Actually, we already know how the trapezium works, but they're asking for the area of this one. So let's go. So it's 12 parallel sides when you add them, remember. That will give us 20. So it's 20 multiplied by the height, which is 3, again, divided by 2. And 2 can go into 20 10 times. 10 multiplied by 3 is 30. Easy. All right, so moving on to another category now. Final category in this section of the multiple choice paper, which is statistics. Mean, mode, median, and probability are key concepts here. But here we go for mode. So a little table is given here, and you're asked to find the modal score. Now, modal score is the score that occurs the most. And the scores are here. But there are 12 students that have the 8 score. So the modal score is 8. Don't be tempted to put the frequency. You should actually put the score. So it's 8. Next, when 3 coins are tossed simultaneously, the possible outcomes are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 scenarios. So what's happening is that there are 8 scenarios, but how many scenarios are there where heads where there are at least 2 heads, right? Yeah, at least 2 heads. How many scenarios? We have one here, at least 2 heads. Another one, at least 2 heads. Another one here, at least 2 heads. And then we have this one, at least 2 heads. So there are 4 scenarios with at least 2 heads. And there are 8 possible outcomes. So probability is expected outcome over the total possible outcomes. So if I should break this fraction down, it's a half, and therefore C is our answer. This is another probability question, and what it's asking is a bag contains 2 red, 4 yellow, 6 blue balls. The probability of drawing a blue ball from the bag at random is what? So there are 6 blue, and the total number of balls is 12. Again, 6 into 12 goes 2 times, so the probability or chance of selecting a blue ball is half. On to the mean here. The mean of the following numbers is 15. Some people would add all these numbers and divide by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and to see which one would give you the 15 as the mean. All right, so if we add all these numbers, you can make some checks. You should get 92. So it's 92 plus C, the one that we don't know. When you divide all that sum by 7, you should get 15. Good. If we work algebraically and multiply 15 by 7, then 92 plus C would be equal to 5, 7, 35, and 717. That's 105. Now, if you should subtract 92 from 105, C is going to be 13. And A is our answer. Right? That's how you find the missing number from a set when the mean is given. Now, the other concept is median, and that's a middle number when all the numbers are organized descending or ascending order. I'm going to organize these numbers in descending order. Go from the largest one, 15, 10, 8, 8, 7, 4, 4, 1. Now, these three, leaving me with these two in the middle. When we have two numbers in the middle and we want to find the median, we add them and divide by 2. 8 plus 7 is 15 divided by 2. That would give me 7.5. That's the median. The mode is the one that occurs the most. And we have 18 happening 2 times here. So the answer is simply 18 for this one. All right. Now, still on statistics, this question is a pie chart. And what we have is pie chart is showing sports chosen by 160 boys. All right. So what happened is the question is asking now the number of boys who chose football. Now, football is taking up a quarter of the circle, as we are seeing, obviously. So we just simply need to, multiply a quarter by 160. And 4 can go into 16 4 times. So 40 is our answer there. Easy. Another probability question. So it's this is the same question. Good. So moving on to the one to the right. This one was a half. So a die is thrown twice. What's the probability or chance that a 3 will appear followed by an even number? Now, the probability that 3 will appear on a dice is there are 1 3. There's only 1 3 on the die and it has 6 numbers on it. When a probability is followed by another one, right, then the chance of it happening is actually more. So you multiply those probabilities. The chance of an even number appearing is 2, 4, 6. There are 3 even numbers on the die, so it's 3 out of 6. When you multiply these chances, it's 1 6 times 3 6. That's 3 over 36. Or just simply 3 into 36 goes 12 times. Or 1/12, that's 8. So 3, the chance of getting a 3 is 1 upon 6. The chance of getting an even number is 3 upon 6. And then 3 into 6 goes 2 times. And 2 times 6 is 12. So it's 1, 12. All right. Moving on to another statistics question. So we have a group data here showing frequency, the length of leaves, right? So 30 cabbage leaves are in this survey, and it's just simply asking for the class boundaries for this question. Now, class boundaries is a concept that connects boundaries together. So for example, these two classes, we have 14 here and 15 there. The number in between is a boundary. So it's 14 plus 15 divided by 2, that's 14.5, right? 14.5 between these two would have 19.5. between these two, we have 24.5. And then between 29 and the other class that it would have been will be 29.5. And between 10 here, the lower boundary here, lower class limit, and the class that would be here would be 9.5. In other words, if we just take 0.5 from the lower boundaries and add 0.5 to the upper boundaries, upper limits here, then we will get what the boundaries are. Easy. And we're done with another 3 topics there. And we're on to the final 3 for this video. So functions, vectors, and trigonometry. These sections take up a lot of the marks on the CSEC paper. Not difficult, however, but let's shoot along. So here, I told you first that there's a question coming that's similar to one of the set questions that we have, but this time the diagram is here. And as it is, seeing these clear circles here, that means some numbers are not included. So what we're looking for are these symbols here, less than, right? And less than. So it's D is the answer, straight. If it's a case where this was shaded, then you see less than or equal to. And if this was shaded, less than or equal to. But since they are not shaded, you leave those little strokes below off, right? So D would be your answer. All right, next, if the function is given as x squared minus x plus 1, but if x is minus 5, what's the value of the fx function? So minus 5 here squared is 25. And then we have minus here, and then the x function itself is minus 5. These two negatives will convert to positive, so that's another 5. And then minus 1 in the end. So 25 plus 5 is 30 minus 1. Our answer is 29. Easy. The gradient of a straight line, of the straight line. Now, the line is given in this form, but you should know that when the line is in this form, y equal mx plus c, that's the general form, then the gradient happens to be the m. So what we're going to do is rearrange this so that we can have y on one side all by itself by simply subtracting 3x on both sides or carrying the 3x over here. That will leave us with 2y equal minus 3x and then minus 8. Now, when you divide both sides by 2 or all the terms by 2, then our y is now all by itself as it is here. And the number that's in front of the x now is our gradient. So it's minus 3 over 2. All right, good. Oh, yes, the question to the right, the functions question here. So what's happening here is that the domains are being mapped onto the ranges over here, right, through a function. And if we make a comparison, we'll notice that 2 plus 3 is 5, 5 plus 3 is 8, 8 plus 3 is 11, and 11 plus 3 is 14. That means our x values are being added to 3, and that gives us our fx values or the y values are react. So A is our answer. And moving on to another functions question, this one is rather easy. All right. If the x value is minus 3, then minus 3 times 3 will give us what? A minus 9. Minus 9 minus 1, that's minus 10. All right. All right. The gradient of the straight line is given. This is similar to our previous question, but this one is a little bit easier. All you have to do is divide this side by 2 and these other terms by 2, such that we're going to be having y all by itself here, and now we have the gradient obviously in the general form here. So it's minus 3 over 2 again. All right, so And the diagram above shows the line PQ. The gradient of PQ is given by. Now, if you remember, the gradient is the measuring of a slopeness of a line. And it's y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. The trick with this question, is normally we would say x1, y1, x2, y2. But in our truth, if we do that, we will notice that you'll have D minus B, then C minus A. But that's not in any of the scenarios here. The idea here is that instead of having these to be the ones, you let these be the ones this time. Right. So if these are the ones, so this is x1, y1, and x2, y2, then what you're going to have is the ones coming first this time. So the idea is that the formula does not really have to come like this. You can actually have the ones first, right? So if that's the case, now what we're going to have is D minus, no, not D, talking about, sorry, the B. Yeah, right. So if these are the ones, then these are the twos, right? So we're having this B first, B here, minus D, and then A here, minus C. Right, the rise over the run, and our answer is this one, D. So the trick with this question really is that we are very used to having these to be the twos. So we start with saying D minus B, but we're getting these to be the twos this time, right? So we have these first, the B minus the D, and then the A minus the C. Any student who go through the regular way though, and they'll have the D minus B and the C minus A, you'd recognize that their answer is here, but it's just that it's in the reverse. So all you do is just take these and put them over this side, and then you'd have your D and your C, of course, back here. But CSEC there is just trying to trick you, but it's the same concept, right? All right, so moving on. So which of the following sets is represented by f x squared maps to x squared plus 3? What's happening here is that the x values are the first numbers, the y values are the second numbers, or the fx values are the second numbers. So if you square the first number and add 3 to it, you should get the second one. So for example, if you square 1, 1 is 1 plus 3 is 4. That's okay. 2 2s is 4 plus 3 is 7. That's okay. And 3 3s 9 plus 3, that's 12. That's okay. 0 times 0 is 0 plus 3. That's okay. Without even further ado, A is the correct answer. Down here, we always see one of those that didn't work. So for example, this one. 3 3 is 9. 9 plus 3 is not 9. So that wouldn't be. If we check this one, 3 3 is 9 plus 3 is 12. This is 6, so that wouldn't be. And this have the same error right there. So A would be the answer. This question on the right is something that we're very familiar with, right? The graph of the inequality in the diagram above is defined by which of these? First, this is shaded. That means it's inclusive, and it's going to be less than. And this, not inclusive, is going to be strictly less than, right? So this one is less than or equal to that one is less than. So this is it, all right? These that are turned the other way, for the range of values, the sign, the symbols will all be turning the left way, right? So this will be out, So this is less than or equal to, it should be strictly less than. So A is our answer. All right, we are very much familiar with this question on the left to by now. It's asking for the gradient again, and all we do is rearranging. So the y is here, we leave that alone and carry the x and the 8 to the other side. So we'll be having minus y minus 5y. That's equal to 2x. Will be minus 2x here. And the 8 will become positive 8. To divide both sides by minus 5 so that y remains by itself, we would have what? Minus 2 divided by minus 5. The negatives will cancel each other, so our answer is going to be 2 upon 5. Looking at the question to the right, we have more than one elements mapping onto one element there, and so is the case with the rest. So the mapping is a many to one mapping going on there. All right, great. On to another vectors and matrices section here. And what we have now, we're almost through with the video. What we're having here now is 5 multiplied by xy. It's the same as 4 multiplied by 10, 20. Now 5 times x and y will give us this matrix over here. So if we should expand this matrix, right? 4 multiplied by 10 is 40. And 4 multiplied by 20 is 80. So what we're really being asked here is 5 multiplied by what two numbers will give me 40 and 80. 5 times what give you 40? That's 8. And 5 times what give you 80? That's 16. The answer is simply B. EG is expressed in terms of K and M is what? Now, we're moving from E here. Are we going to G there? Arrow. So there are two possibilities, right? We're going from E to S, from S to G, or we could go from E to F and then from F to G. Let's follow the principle that if EF is K, then SG is also K, right? Also, let's follow that if the arrow is going this way, then the matrix, then the vector M would be the same as going in that direction. They're similar, M. If we decide to come this way, right? So that would be vector M plus the vector K, and that would be A. Right. There's no other scenario where both vectors are positive. So even though we have M first and K, it's the same thing. It would be like having K going that way and then M coming this way. So A is our correct answer. All right, some other vectors question here. This one is asking us to multiply matrix A with matrix B. But you and I know that in doing so, we'd be multiplying row by column, right? So let's go. 1 times 3 is 3, plus 3 times 2 is 6, plus minus 3 times 0 is 0. When I add these numbers, the result is 9. So the first number is 9, which means these are out so far. Right, so let's move on now. So this row times this column this time. There's 1 times 0, that's 0. 3 times 1, that's 3. And then 3 times 5, that's minus 15. And when we add those, right, that 3 plus 15, that's minus 12. We have minus 12 right here. And this is minus 18, so that cannot be the answer as well. So without going even further, this is our answer, right? All right. Next, we have the vector P minus vector Q. So P is 3, 7, and the vector Q is minus 2 and 5. So the trick here is that we know that 5 from 7 is 2, and then 3 minus minus 2 is positive 5. So this is it. Really and truly, if you just focus on the bottom number in this case, right? Taking 5 from 7, this is the only answer with 2 at the bottom. So it's the only answer that's even possible, right? All right, so coming down, we're on to geometry and trigonometry. If this situation here, right, is saying that in the diagram above, line y equal x is rotated anti-clockwise, which means going to be spinning in that direction. Then anti-clockwise about origin or 90 degrees. What is its image? Now, 90 degrees from this line actually would be looking like that. 90 degrees. So if this is the y-axis, another name for the y-axis, the one coming straight down, is the x equals 0 line. So this is out. This line going across is the x-axis. Another name for it is the y equals 0 line. The line that's given here, right, diagonally, is the line y equals x. After it's being rotated, it cannot have the same name. So that answer is y equal minus x, the process of elimination. Another question, how many triangles congruent to ADE, right here, be needed to cover the rectangle ABCD? All right, so that's another congruent triangle. These two are another set. And then what we have here is, there we go. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 triangles will be needed to cover that rectangle there. All right, so again, geometry and trigonometry take up a lot of marks in this multiple choice era. So if x is 10 meters from y, the height yz in meters is what? So yz is this length right there. And what you're saying is, this is the angle of depression given. But in any given situation, the angle of depression and elevation are the same thing. So this is 30 degrees, right? And they want to know what zy is, yz. Then what we're looking at is the opposite side over the adjacent side. Now, let us say you don't remember what the trig ratios are. On the exam, check the formula sheet and you recognize that it is tan. Tan is equal to opposite over adjacent, right? All right, so there are no other ratio here that would even be possible. If, however, you want to see exactly how the 10 and 30 degrees, then it will be tan of 30 degrees. And that will be equal to the opposite side, x over 10. And then when we cross multiply 10 times tan 30, that is how we get the A. Or what's the order of matrix Q? Matrix Q is this huge matrix here. And the order is the same thing as just writing down the dimensions, which is 3 rows and 4 columns. So that's row by column. That's it. The determinant of matrix P is product of leading diagonal, 5 times 8 is 40, minus the product of the non-leading diagonal, 6, 7 is 42. Our result is 2. All right, and these are our final questions in our multiple choice revision. And what we're having here is an enlargement situation. Triangle MO, the length of MO in centimeters is what? So the two triangles are given. And what we're noticing is that the angles are the same. That means these are similar triangles. So we have 6 at this triangle, but yet this 3 at this one. So if 7 is here, since they are similar triangles, then this must be half of 7, which is 3.5. Finally, which trigonometric ratio is equal to 4/8 as it is given here? Now, what we have to pay attention to is the fact that there are 2 angles given here. And how we have to treat this now is 4/8. If we're looking at it from this end, the y, 4 will be the adjacent side over the hypotenuse. That is cos of y. But what we have here is cos of x, so that's wrong. If we're looking at it from this side, the 4 is opposite and the 8 is hypotenuse. So it's opposite over hypotenuse, which is sine of x. So here we are. The others are out. So that's it for CSEC multiple choice revision. Hope you all do your best on the exam. Just remember a few things. You have the process of elimination, right? And also do not be shying away from any of the topics. Now, for example, measurement, just remember, always go back to the formula sheet, use the formulas there to grasp your concepts, and then just put in the information and find your answers. For statistics, for the most part, remember mean, mode, and median. For algebra, make sure you know to solve an equation. For sets, remember that this means intersecting all those elements that are common. And if you see anything like this, where it's A with a little apostrophe, it means the elements that are outside of. Make sure you know to manipulate the idea of percentages, profit, loss, discount, so on and so forth, right? Go and do your best. See you at the end. All right, have a nice day. Goodbye.